Okay, this is a super short video for this lesson, but a super important concept. So when you're riding, your horse's head and neck should be, the base of the neck should not have tension in the muscles. If the base of the neck has tension, then they're going to be hollowing out their back as they're carrying you. So we're going to cover that in this lesson. While we're sitting on top, we've already introduced it in hand on the ground. And I always start in a halter because I have introduced it in hand in the halter. But if your horse is riding comfortably in a bit, you're welcome to teach it in a bit as well. So all I'm doing is squeezing and adding a little bit of pressure on both of my reins, a little bit more on the inside rein. So in this case, the left rein than the right rein. And what I'm really looking for is the base of the neck, the muscles in the base of the neck, to release and stay released while walking forward. So you can see how every time he goes to walk forward, he starts putting his head up, and the base of his neck, and I'm going to do a picture here in a second, the base of his neck gets super tight. And what we are looking for is those muscles to relax and stay relaxed as we're moving forward in motion. So you can see in this picture right there where the arrow is pointing how tight the base of his neck is. That tension is going to keep him from lifting his back and carrying himself more correctly. There will be a lot of tension in the back. This is where you get a lot of back pain while riding, is all the bracing through the neck and the back. When the neck is braced like this, you're not going to have the loose fluid movement through the hind end or through the back. So your hind end is going to get more locked up, and this is where you start getting all those tight hamstrings. The area in the pelvis near their sacrum will be really tight. You'll start having stifle issues, hock issues, all of this. And this is true if your horse's head is up and the neck is braced, or if they're too far rolled under and riding behind the vertical. Either one is not good for them. And so where I start this under saddle is just asking them to soften and release those muscles in the base of the neck where they're carrying that tension, and stay released in forward motion. We are not looking for them to drag their faces on the ground. We are not looking for them to carry their weight in the pole. All we're looking for is for those muscles to release and to soften to our hand into contact as we ask them to soften. And this is where it starts. You can't start it at a trot. Really, I mean, you can see how few steps I'm taking here, just a few steps, and asking him to soften. And anytime he starts sticking his head up in motion, I will ask for the softening in motion. If he stops, that's fine. I just keep asking for the softening. And then as soon as he gives it, he gets a release. So this next picture, you can see this is what we're looking for. You can see how the neck has released. There's the tension and those muscles has released. This is what we're looking for. And this is going to be a different head height for each horse. What you're looking for is for those muscles to be released. So if your horse is downhill, it might be a little lower. If they're uphill, it might be a little higher. And this is absolutely the absolute first step of teaching them how to carry themselves correctly, how to basic. This is where collection starts. If they do not have this down, standing still first, then at a walk, then they're not going to be able to do anything else. So when I'm asking, it's soft pressure, soft contact. Again, a little more inside rein than outside rein, but you want their head straight or almost straight. If it's not straight, it's just a slight, you can see the corner of the eye and the nostril on the inside of the turn. So in this case, because I'm going to the left, it would be just a corner of his eye and the corner of his nostrils to the left on the left-hand side that I'm looking for. And I'm really looking for him just to soften to the contact of my hand. And as he starts walking, I'm going to ask for it at the walk if he starts putting his head up, because he has a lot of tension and bracing in his body. And he's learned how to carry himself with his back hollow. And this will cause, like I said, a lot of discomfort in riding. It's also bracing to your hand. This is, again, where starting to teach the horse how to carry them, this is where it starts. So this is the very first step of that process, and it's a super, super, super important concept. But and it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. So you're going to have to go really slow with this, but this is incredibly important. And if you don't have this, then the next lesson is going to be much more difficult. And again, it does not have to be perfect. This is, before you move on to the next step, this is absolutely something that I am continuing working with every step of the way. So every time you introduce a new concept, a new drill, they're going to have more tension in their body. But I always come back to this. If I'm doing something and the horse's body gets really tense, then I'll come back to this. And a lot of it is mental tension. Some of it is physical tension, not knowing how to carry themselves. But this is kind of where they will go back to. So it is absolutely a concept I like to introduce first under saddle before I'm doing anything else.